Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. Listen. If you are joining me, if you can hear me and see me well, I want you to drop a one in the chat. If you can hear me well and see me well, I want you to drop a one in the chat and let me know that you can hear me well and see me well. Today, we're going to be talking about the mistakes you're making that are holding up opportunities for you that perhaps you are not very well aware of. So, if you can hear me well and see me well, drop a one in the chat for my IG family. Hey, friend, how are you? Happy Monday. Wonderful. I am seeing ones showing up in the chat. Beautiful. We are live in a couple of places. So if you lose me here, know that you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on LinkedIn. So we live in all the places. Okay. We are live in all of the places. But happy Monday. I hope you are doing well. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. My name is Susanna Briscoe-Alba, lead career strategist at Dunamis Coaching and Consulting Services, and I teach you how to land six-figure roles through leadership development and career strategy. Today, we're going to be talking about career strategy. Hey, friend. Hey, girl. Hey. So, listen, if this is your first time joining me, on a live, I want you to drop the number 2 in the chat. If this is your first time joining me on a live, I want you to drop a 2 in the chat, number 2. And if this is not your first time, if you are true to this tribe and you have been rocking with me for some time, I want you to drop a 3 in the chat. So if this is your first time joining me, I want you to drop a 2. Welcome to all of the 2s that I am seeing and all 350 of y'all that are watching. And if this is not your first time, if you've been rocking with me for some time, I want you to drop a 3 in the chat. And if you are dropping a 3, I want you to help me to welcome the 2s that are in the building today. Okay. Because we are going to get into subject matter material. These are things that I'm starting to see quite a bit of. You may or may not know, I am a hiring manager. I've been a one for a very long time. And there are a couple things that I'm starting to see on people's resumes that are holding them up from opportunities. And I want to make sure that you are not one of those people. Okay. So if you are a 3, help me welcome the 2s that are in the building. If you are catching this on the replay, I want you to comment #replay and let me know that you were here. If you are catching this on the replay, I want you to comment #replay and let me know that you were here. And listen, if you are a 3, you already know, have something to take notes with because we about to get into some real stuff. Y'all, I can't even get the words out. But listen, I want to make sure that you are prepared. So make sure that you have something that you can take notes with. I don't care if it's a notebook, a pen and a notebook, or it's in your notes app. But please make sure that you have something to take notes with. I will save this live so you will be able to go back to it. But if you are in real time and you are trying to find a new opportunity and you're wondering why you're not getting any interviews or not getting any calls back, my rule of thumb is this. If you're not getting any interviews, it's likely because your resume needs some work. If you're not getting any offers, it's likely because you struggle in selling yourself during the interview. I'm going to say that one more time for the people who listen slow. If you are not getting any interviews, it's likely because your resume needs some work. If you are not getting any offers, it's likely because you do not know how to sell yourself or articulate your value during an interview. And today, we are going to change all that. Okay. So if you're with me, I want you to type amen, AMEN in the chat. If you're with me, I want you to type amen in the chat because I want to make sure that you are ready. Okay. I want to make sure that you've got this. Chris, congratulations. I am so proud of you for getting an interview today. If you were watching me on YouTube or LinkedIn or any of those places, you would see that there are fireworks behind me. I don't know why that is, but congratulations to you, my friend. On your interview. Okay, so I am seeing amen in the chat. Beautiful. I'm about to take y'all to church, so make sure that you have something to write with. And if you would be so kind, Listen, we're about to hit a milestone for me. And so if you are watching and you are watching on IG, I've never had about 400 people join a single live. I think that that's probably the highest that I've had. So if you catch the live and it has over 400, would you take a picture and send it to me? Because that's a very big deal for me. So I really would appreciate that. But anyway, okay, so getting back to it. If you're watching me on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, please forgive me for all of the things that just show up on their own. They're not planned. I'm not sure why they come up. But okay, let's get into it. The first mistake that I am seeing on your documentation is when it comes to your resume, y'all, the even before we get into context, before we start reading past your contact information, the first issue that I am seeing with many lies in your email address. Okay. The first issue that I am seeing lies in your email address because your email address says a lot about who you are and it can lead to biases. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. We've done this before, but I'm going to give you an example so that you can get an understanding of what I am referring to. If your email address ends in AOL or Yahoo, if you see an email address that ends in AOL or Yahoo or Ymail or anything like that, I want you to type in the chat for me what you think. Y'all, we hit almost 4:30. Yay, that's awesome. Okay. So if you see one of those emails that ends with that, okay, I want you to tell me what you think of when you see an email that ends with AOL or ends in Yahoo or ends in Ymail or Hotmail or anything like that. Tell me what y'all think. Because I want you to see what some of your counterparts are seeing in the same thing. Okay? And so in the chat, what I am seeing is not so professional. I'm seeing outdated or older crowd. I'm seeing outdated. I'm seeing dated. That is very much a real thing. Okay. That is very much a real thing. And here's the thing. I don't want you to necessarily change your email, but for the sake of job hunting, especially in this type of market, I'm going to encourage you to create just a general Gmail account. And the reason that I want to encourage you to create just a general Gmail account is because when you create a Gmail account, there are a lot of other things that come attached with it. You can create a Google folder, you can create a Google Drive where you can keep your resume kind of easy to access. There's so many other benefits that come with just having a Gmail address. And some of y'all are still going with like, it's old, it's a veteran, they're inexperienced. Like, I want you to make sure these are words that you are saying. So I want you to be aware of your email address. If that is at the very top, bias is a real thing, y'all. Bias is a very real thing. So you can imagine my surprise that as a hiring manager or as someone who is constantly looking at resumes, I see resumes who have like sexy kitten 73 at AOL.com. Excuse me? What you say your email was? And here's the other part. The part that drives me crazy is you likely have a lot of experience. And because you have a lot of experience, and because you are good at what you do, and because you are the subject matter expert, ain't nobody gonna stop to look at those things on your resume if I can't get past sexy kitten 73 at hotmail.com. Miss Ma'am, help me help you. So the first thing that I want you to pay attention to is your email address. And I know it's funny, y'all. That's probably one of the most extreme ones that I've seen, but it's a very real thing, okay? Create for yourself an account that is specific to your job search. Create for yourself an account that is specific to your job search. And the reason that I'm encouraging you to use a Gmail account is because there's so many things that are attached to it. So it just makes a place easy for you to kind of keep your resume, your cover letter, the jobs that you've applied to, the templates that I'm going to share with you if you're coming to the resume bootcamp. Like those are the things that I want you to be very aware of, because it's such a little thing, but it holds so much weight. Okay? It holds so much weight. And when it comes to reading your resume, y'all, you don't have a lot of time. Okay? So here's exercise number 2. Can you imagine or can you guess how much time hiring managers and or recruiters spend looking at your resume? Take a wild guess for me. Okay? Take a wild guess. For those of you who are tracking the numbers for me, I love y'all. I love y'all for real, for real. Thank you. Um, Take a wild guess how long it takes me, because maybe this is not for everybody, but take a wild guess how long it will take me to kind of comb through a resume to see if a candidate is perhaps somebody that I even want to consider into calling in for an interview. Now, mind y'all, I run and operate my own business. And right now we are not hiring. But when I am posting for a position and I have resumes that are coming in, you better believe that I'm looking at them. Especially if I am posting them if I'm posting the position to my social media platforms, it's likely that there are members of my tribe that may or may not apply based on their skill set. And so look at how many folks, follow me on IG and follow me on all the other platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Okay. So if I am posting a role, it is likely that I'm going to have a large number of people who will apply for the role. On average, it will take me anywhere between 7 to 8 seconds to identify if this is a candidate that I want to continue moving forward. So on average, it'll take me between 7 to 8 seconds to identify if this is a candidate that I want to continue moving forward. And the reason that I'm telling you that your email becomes such an important aspect of that is because in those 7 to 8 seconds, I'm looking at contact information because it is at the very top of your resume. So it's going to hold some weight. And if that is the first thing that I encounter, I'm going to be like, this person is not ready for what I'm asking them to do. So, for example, if I am hiring for a business manager position, and this is a hypothetical, a business manager position, which means that I am trusting you to supervise and find new business for our organization, which means that you would need to know what are some of the trends, what are some of the needs in the industry, and what are some of my expectations. Okay. And if your email ends in AOL, I'm going to probably think they may not know what I'm looking for, while you might be exactly who I need. But this is an extreme example, but I want you to be able to see how real this is, especially in this type of market. Do not give a organization a reason not to consider you. So your resume, if you're going to be leveraging an email, use your first dot last name at gmail.com or first name last name at gmail.com. This applies whether you're looking for a new role, whether you're applying for an internship. If you're graduating fresh out of college, it's May. So to my college students who are graduating, congratulations to you. You've made it this far. I am incredibly proud of you. For many of you, especially for my college students, you entered college under a real interesting time. And I can tell you that with such assurance, because 4 years ago today, my life looked real different. I was working out of college. I was in higher education. And I remember what it was like to bring students in the middle of a pandemic. So for those of you who have navigated that and you've made it through, congratulations to you. I am so proud of you. Okay? I am so proud of you. But I need you to be prepared. So I want you to make sure that you have your email equipped, right? Your first dot last name or your first and last name at gmail.com. Be mindful of numbers, okay? Do not put first and last name at first and last name 83 at gmail.com, because immediately I'm going to think, oh, you were born in 83. Bias. You want to be mindful of those. So please, 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 please keep it as generic as possible. Okay. So you can use a number. You can use, I believe you can use a period in between. If you have a really like common name or general name, or you want to differentiate your name, you can use the first letter of your name and then your last name. There are so many different ways that you can create an email that is specific to you. But for the love of everything holy, make sure that you have updated your email. If you got it, I want you to say, I got it, because we're going to move on to point number 2. Point number 1 was making sure that your email is the best representation of you, especially at the place of your resume, because it's going to be at the very top of that. Okay. So if you got it, I want you to tell me I got it. And I need to hydrate because I'm teaching. Okay. All right. Y'all are rocking with me. Telling me you got it. I love that for us. Beautiful. The next thing that I want you to pay attention to is like the other mistake that I'm seeing is that your resume is not skimmable. And I'm going to show an example here in a second. I'm going to show you what my resume looked like. Okay. But the reason that I am telling you that your resume is not skimmable is because some folks are taking their job description and they're placing that as their bullet point. And then there is this long paragraph to one bullet. That ain't it. That ain't it. So I want you to make your resume skimmable. Okay. Guide the eye of the reader so that they know and they can identify what are the things that are most important to you. Be weary of a whole bunch of like fancy texts and a whole bunch of like lines and tables and all this other jazz. Some people will encourage you to do so. But in this case, in this economy, in this type of job market, less is more. Okay. So your resume isn't skimmable. That's the first thing. Like it's just a whole paragraph for one bullet point. So I want you to keep it as strategic as possible. Yo, why are they calling me right now? Hold on, because I don't want to lose y'all. So let me put my phone on do not disturb. Okay. All right. Hopefully that worked. Okay. So your resume is not skimmable. What I mean by that is that there should be certain specific things within your resume that guide the eye of the reader, and that your experience, my loves, is relevant to the position that you are applying for. I'm going to say that one more again. Make sure that your experience is relevant to the position that you are applying for. Because if you're applying to be a CFO, or you're applying to be a director, or you're applying to be at a leadership position, unless you can tell me how your experience at McDonald's and Wendy's are relevant to that position, I am not in need of that. Unless you can tell me how certain certifications are relevant to the position, they don't need to be on there. So if you're a certified underwater basket weaver, baby, that's not relevant to the role unless they are looking for certified basket weaving people. Okay? So please make sure that your resume is relevant and that it is skimmable, that the information that is on your resume is relevant to that and that we can kind of follow through. Because the biggest thing that I want to avoid for you is that, for example, some folks have been out of work for a specific period of time. And so usually the question I get is, Susanna, how do I address gaps on my resume? Make sure that your information that you do have on your resume is relevant to the position, and give me glimpses of what you did during your break, during your that, and not only just glimpses of that, How are the things that you did during your break relevant to the position? Y'all, life happens all the time. So if you have a gap on your resume, instead of focusing on the gap, focus on what you've learned during that time that is going to be beneficial to the new organization that you're going into. So, for example, I know of someone who was a teacher for a very long time and they left the classroom and now they're going back into the workforce. Life happened. They got married, they became a mom, they were working from home for a little while, but they have a resume gap and they're concerned about that. Which I'm not telling you, to give you context, is that this person learned how to be able to teach, um, how to teach online, how to tutor online, how to attract the right people to said tutoring and teaching online. Does that not sound like something that would be valuable to an organization who perhaps is in education and is struggling to attract the right people? Because the first question that I would be asking is, how'd you do that? Can you help us? Because that's where we're at. We need you to help us. And if you're transitioning from one role to another, so this individual was teaching in the classroom, they went to teaching online. Here's the beauty of teaching online. Ah, the beauty of teaching online, y'all, is that I don't know, especially in this way, I don't know who my audience is all that much or who is listening to my teaching. So I could be teaching a 70-year-old while still teaching an 18-year-old. And if I'm able to keep both of those groups of people engaged, then there is something about my teaching that makes people want to lean in and listen. This person was able to do that. So, how do I apply that to different industries? Well, if I'm going out of the classroom and I'm going into another industry, then I know how to teach in different modalities to attract and retain the attention of different learning styles. I just gave you a bullet point right there that is likely going to be skimmable. So, can you understand why skimmable, having your resume in a portion that is skimmable just makes it so much easier? Okay. So make sure that your resume, you have the right email address and that it is skimmable. I'm going to show you what that looks like because I promised y'all that I would show you my resume. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to see if I can show this. Let's see, Susanna. I'm going to see if I can show you mine. And I'm going to see if I can bring you guys Instagram. I'm going to see if I can bring you guys behind the scenes and to my folks who are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Okay. So this is happening in real time. I'm going to see if I could do this for y'all. But in the event that I cannot do that for y'all, I want you to be aware that I am going to be hosting a resume bootcamp on May 8th at 7 p.m. that you may likely want to attend. So if you're watching me on IG, you're going to comment the word resume so that my assistant, Susanna the bot, can send you the link for you to register for the bootcamp. Okay. If you're watching me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, I'm going to drop how you can do that. I'm just trying to figure out how to share this screen. Okay, so we teaching in real time. So let's see. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen on, where are we? Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. If you can see my screen on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, I want you to drop a 1. And if you can see my screen here, I'm not going to be here very long, but if you can see my screen on, where are we? On Instagram, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. Okay. Let's see if I can bring y'all. We're up close and personal. Okay. So here we are. Y'all see this resume? So this is my resume, friends. Okay. Couple things I want you to be aware of. My name is at the top. for the sake of my security, but my safety, my address is here, my LinkedIn profile, and look at the title that I have created here. I am calling out who I am and what I want to be known for. So your resume is going to be very skimmable. Can you see how my resume is flowing into 2 pages? But I am able to give you context into who I am, what I've done, and my bullets are very specific to the position that I am applying for. Now, listen, if you are watching me on IG, let me make sure that my stand doesn't fall. And if you're watching me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube, I am going to be sharing this exact same thing with you at the Resume Bootcamp. I'm going to be teaching you the different types of resumes that exist. Okay, because I want to make sure that you have the best resume that fits you. Here's another problem that I see with a lot of people, and the issue that I see with a lot of people is that you're under the assumption that there's a one size fits all type of resume. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't remember when was the last time one size fits all fit me. And it's changed to one size fits most. But the thing that I want you to be aware of is that you need to know the different types of resumes that are available that you can leverage. So, like that, you can use it effectively. So, on IG, if you comment the word resume, you'll get the link for it. On Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, I'm going to share with y'all the link. Okay, so you can join me here. Join me here. Y'all, I am like typing and giving y'all tea at the same time. For the Resume Bootcamp, you will have the opportunity. There's a couple things that are going to happen at the Resume Bootcamp on Monday, May 8th. That I'm pretty excited about. So not only am I going to give you that same template that you saw me use, that's the template that I've used for years, and it has worked for me. So there's no gatekeeping over here. I'm going to share it with you. But not only will you have that, I'm also going to you're going to have access to the replay of the masterclass of the Resume Bootcamp. You'll have access to that for 30 days. I'm going to give you a workbook that has ChatGPT prompts that you can use because some people can't afford to work with individuals like me. So you need a guide to help you. We're going to give that to you as well. So you want to make sure that you're there. It's going to happen at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. And I'm going to give you all of the tea. The last issue that I see on your resumes is that it's not relevant to the position. Relevant to the position. You have to make sure that your experience is relevant to the role. So at the bootcamp, I'm going to share with y'all how you can do this very easy, leveraging the power of AI. A lot of people get very nervous with AI. Because in some way, shape, or form, you feel like AI is going to replace you, or AI, like the real truth about it, y'all, is that somebody still needs to be able to put the prompt into the AI in order for the AI to do its AI thing. Okay. Why not that be you? Okay. So when you join me at the bootcamp, I'm going to give you the resume template that I just shared. It is my resume. And I really am trying to hook y'all up. I'm going to give you the workbook that goes with it, with all of the prompts. I'm also in that workbook going to give you questions that typically get asked of you at an interview. And I'm going to give you how to respond for those because a lot of people have not been on interviews for a very long time. And they get very nervous. And then the last thing that I'm going to do during that bootcamp is that during the bootcamp, I am going to review resumes in real time. So you will have the opportunity to submit your resume, and I just might pull your resume up and review it for you in real time. Okay. So if you comment the word resume on IG, you will get the link to be able to register. The bootcamp will be recorded and you will be able to review the bootcamp for 30 days. And yes, there is a fee. Yes, there is a fee. So when you get the link, you'll be able to register and see if it's for you. If it's for you, it's for you. I'm looking forward to having you. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. And that's okay. There is plenty of material on my page that is absolutely free that you can leverage. But I want you to be aware of those three mistakes that are holding people back from getting offers. Okay. The first is that your email address is dating you. We're not doing that anymore. Please make sure that you have updated your email address. Create one that is specific to your job search. Create one that is specific to your job search. So, like that, you can keep track of everything, but so like that, you can eliminate bias as much as possible. Okay. The other way that you can eliminate bias is by removing your years of education. The other way that you can remove bias is by taking off any jargon that is specific to the industry that is no longer used widely within the industry. Because that's another thing. Sometimes I see bullet points with terms and I'm like, who says that? Who uses that? Oh, well, that's what we used to call it. We who? Say their name. And used to why, right? So we want to make sure that our resumes are relevant for the roles that we're applying for. Secondly, we want to make sure that the resume is skimmable. Okay? That the resume is skimmable. That you are guiding the eye of the reader to the places and spaces that are the most important. Okay? And it is okay if you have 2 pages on your resume. That's totally fine. But once you start getting to 3 pages, 4 pages, unless you are applying for a federal position, keep it to the max 2. Okay? 1 page per 10 years. Don't give me a whole long list of, like, again, I'm trying to get you hired. I promise you. I promise you I'm trying to get you hired, but you got to help me help you. Okay? So you need to make sure that you've updated your resume. Make sure that that you've updated your email address. Make sure that your resume is skimmable. Okay? And at the boot camp, I don't have time to like teach it. But at the boot camp, I will. There are going to be certain things that I encourage folks to make sure that they have to call out very specifically. Because most of you who follow me have oodles and oodles of experience. But here's another thing that I bet most of you who follow me probably are struggling with. Number one, you have years and years of experience, but you haven't been in an interview for years and years. So the thought of going on an interview makes you want to mop the ocean. Okay. Secondly, you have all of this experience. You are the individual that everybody seems to want to come and pick their brain. Can I pick your brain about that? Oh my God, you're so good at this. Do you mind giving me your insight? What do you think about X, Y, and Z? You know what that tells me? That you are a subject matter expert. If everyone is asking you for insight, for your opinion, for your thoughts, can I pick your brain? If you're getting a lot of questions like, you got a minute? Because we know that it's never a minute. Has anybody been there where somebody's like, it's not going to take very long. I just need like 5 minutes of your time. 30 minutes later, we're still talking on the same topic. Baby, the reason why this is happening is because people see you as a subject matter expert. But then when I look at your resume, it doesn't say any of that. So likely, if you're following me, you have years of experience. Most of you have at least a minimum of 8 years of experience in your current field. You have not been on an interview for a very long time. Your resume, you are scared of your resume. I haven't even seen it yet. And you are scared of your resume. And then the last thing about the folks that I know who follow me is that you are ready for a change. For some of you, you have been at this job for a long time, knowing full well that you should have left a long time ago, but you're scared. You're scared because of all of the things that I mentioned before. You're scared that people won't take you seriously. You're scared of applying to positions bigger and higher than what you currently hold, because the lie that is running around in your head is you can't do that kind of work. What if they see that you are not prepared? Your anxiety is telling you something so false. And instead of confronting it head on, you rather just kind of stay where you're at. Right? And so the first thing that I need you to address, you know why I start with your resume? Because I want you to start documenting just how incredible you are. And the reason that I need you to make sure that your resume is the best reflection of who you are is because once you go through this boot camp, once you've gotten your resume together and interviews start coming in, the next thing that we need to tackle is the fear of the actual interview. But I can't get you to that place if your resume is done haphazardly, or if you are not prepared, or if you don't know how to articulate your value. Because can I free some of you all right now? If you're ready, I want you to type ready. I'm gonna share something with y'all that will likely blow your mind. So if you're ready, I want you to type ready. If you're ready, I want you to type ready. Because here's the other part. Y'all are ready. If they called you for an interview, it's because they already think you qualified. If they're calling you for an interview, it's because they already think you're qualified. If the recruiter is sliding into your DMs on LinkedIn to ask about your experience, it's because they already think that you are qualified. So why on God's green earth would we believe the lie that you can't, that it might be worse someplace else, that they'll never pay you what you're looking for if they're already coming to you? And you know how I know they're coming to you? Because for many of y'all, most of y'all, I'm not going to say all of y'all, but for many of y'all, you may not hold a leadership position, but you have a whole lot of leadership influence, which is the reason why people are coming to ask for your opinion, which is the reason why people always want to pick your brain, which is the reason why when your boss goes on vacation, they put you on the out of office. But you're still stuck on, I got to get my resume together. So together, we're going to address that. And then the next thing that you'll do is you'll go and apply. But if you're struggling to get interviews, it's likely because your resume needs work. And if you're struggling to get offers, it's likely because you've not learned to articulate your value in a powerful way. What does that mean, Susanna? That means that the person that I am meeting in front of me does not match the person that I am seeing on paper. So there's a lot of people telling you to use ChatGPT to make your search easier so that you can use your resume, all this other stuff, right? But what happens when ChatGPT recognizes your talent better than you? They call you for an interview and now you don't know what to say. Then you get mad. Can't believe they turned me down. I can't believe they did this. I can't believe I went through all of this, all of these interviews, and now they went for the next candidate because you didn't believe it about you. So if you don't believe about you, why should I, as a hiring manager or organization, believe you? Y'all feel me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, I want you to say loud and clear. If you can hear me, I want you to say loud and clear. Because I need you to understand how impactful you are. And there are simple things that you can do today that will significantly change what it looks like later on. So this is why I'm hosting the Resume Bootcamp, Because if there's one thing that we are not going to do in 2024, sis, is that we are not going to stay average or underpaid for that matter. Now, let me bring some hiring manager realness to this conversation. When you have submitted your application and when you've gotten called for an interview, there are a couple things that are happening in the background. For those of you who are asking, the bootcamp is happening May 8th, which is this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So after you've submitted your application, we've called you for an interview. The reason that I need your resume to always be ready is because we will likely give the most attention to the resumes that come in the earliest in the cycle. So if I post a position, let's say tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm going to look at the resumes that come in within the first week of me posting that. And if it's a high demand position, it's likely going to be the resumes that come in within the first 3 days. This is why your resume needs to stay ready. Because some of y'all go to these job boards and you're on LinkedIn and you're like, oh my God, it already has 100 applicants. I'm not going to apply. Girl, I want you to apply anyway. Because as a hiring manager, I can tell you those 100 applicants are not necessarily 100 applicants. They just click the apply button. That's just the way the algorithm works over there on LinkedIn. So still apply. And apply within the certain time frame that I'm giving you. Okay? And then after you've applied and we've called you for the interview, here's the other thing that I get a lot in my DMs. Susanna, I went on an interview. I haven't heard anything in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, that's actually quite normal. It is. I'm sorry to tell y'all that. But no gatekeeping over here. It's quite normal for you to be waiting 2 weeks, 3 sometimes. Because depending on how many applicants we've called in and depending on our schedules, you may be applicant number 2 and I still got another 5 to go through. This is why you got to walk into these interviews owning your dopeness. Because if you walk in there mediocre and candidate number 4 walks in there owning it, guess who they gonna call? So if you are in the application process and if you got an interview and you feel like it's a waiting game, it's likely you're not the only person that they're interviewing. And depending on our schedules, will depend on how quickly we can move through the interviews and move someone else into the next category. This is the other reason why I need your resume to be ready. Because while they are interviewing, you are still applying. But again, I know some of my people who follow me. You submit an application and you got really excited about the position, and then you didn't apply to anything else. This. You apply as long as you are applying for positions that are relevant to your experience. Continue to apply. Okay? So I don't have time to break all of this down, but I hope that you picked up on those 3 things. Make sure you have an updated email address, make sure that your resume is skimmable, and make sure that the experience listed is relevant to the role that you are applying to. Okay? If you need help, I will help you. This is why I'm hosting the Resume Bootcamp May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're watching me on IG, I want you to comment resume and you will get the link for you to be able to register. If you're watching me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, then you should see in the comments the link for you to be able to register. So if you want to get help, help is available. But you gotta want it. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. Okay? So let's see. I've pinned the link right now on YouTube, Instagram, no, LinkedIn, and Facebook. That is where you go to be able to join me for the resume bootcamp. Okay. I want to see if there's a way that I can copy this and put this in the chat so like that you can click on it. So bear with me, y'all. I'm trying. I'm trying to hook y'all up. All right, I got a few minutes before I go into my next call, but I want to make sure that all of you can at least see the link to be able to register. If you're on IG, okay, you can comment resume and you will be able to get the link. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube and LinkedIn, I just dropped for you the link for you to be able to register. Okay. So what do you get? You get the template, the resume template. You get the replay of the class for 30 days. You get a workbook to help you not only with your resume, but interview questions, how to leverage AI. And during the class, I'll be reviewing resumes in real time. Okay. So make sure you join me. Okay, my loves? Because what we are not going to do in 2024 is struggle on purpose. Okay. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. There is no need to struggle. And struggle is not our standard. If you did not catch anything from my life today, I want you to catch that. Struggle does not need to be your standard. For many of us, we come from backgrounds where struggle was all we knew. I'm looking to change that. And struggle does not need to be your standard. Okay? All right. So, question here is any tips on questionnaires when applying for a new job? It's at a hospital. Typically, when we're asking you to fill out a questionnaire, we're trying to figure out, couple things. Can you handle pressure well? Questionnaires 9 times out of 10 make people very nervous. So if you can handle that questionnaire and give me relevant responses, you likely can do well under pressure. It's one thing to say that on your resume. It's another thing entirely to prove that to me during the process. The other thing with questionnaires is we really want to assess, can you do the work? Okay. Can you do the work? Which is the reason why we give those types of questionnaires. And the other types of questionnaires is, are you a good fit for the culture and environment that we've created? So when you're looking at questionnaires, that's likely what they're looking for. So be intentional with your responses. In that questionnaire, we can also tell whether you are actually interested in this job or you're just applying because you need a job and you're desperate. So be mindful of how you respond. Is it okay to apply? Is it okay to easy apply on LinkedIn? Oh, I love this question. I'm going to tell you no. I'm going to tell you no. The reason that I don't encourage folks to apply via easy apply on LinkedIn is because it's really costly to post a position on LinkedIn. And when you hit that easy apply button on the back end, what that does is that it just creates a folder. It doesn't necessarily show me your application. So if you're going to apply, go to the company's website, apply off of the company website and not off of the LinkedIn posting. Okay. That's also a way for you to avoid scammers because there are scam jobs out there. Don't even get me started on how I feel about that. But I would encourage you to apply on the company website and not using the LinkedIn apply, the easy apply. Okay. So there's that. Question here is, how can a reconversion with a CV highlighting skills? How can you do a reconversion with a CV highlighting skills relevant to the position to previous positions? Okay, so I don't know why I can't share this question, but let's assume that you have previous experience and you are you are trying to leverage your previous experience, um, make sure that your previous experience, when you go to share it, is relevant to the position, so that if it is a leadership role and perhaps you have not had leadership title, but you've had to lead or facilitate anything, that you can speak to that. Okay, so I hope that that helped. um Question here is, can I take notes along during the interview process? I absolutely encourage you to do so. If you are going on an interview, please, 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 please have something to take notes with. The reason that I encourage you to do that, number one, is because it will help you to calm and slow yourself down. Most candidates walk into interviews and they're nervous and they start talking really fast. And because they're talking really fast, we miss things. And then it sounds like that. Slow down, baby. It's going to be all right. Okay. So when you have notes, it also allows for you to slow yourself down and pace yourself. It allows for you to write things that you can then share your experience with more relevancy. So definitely have something to take notes with. Um, is there a way to get the replay and digital swag, please? So if you join the resume bootcamp, everything is digital. You don't need to be in person. I think you might be thinking about the conference. The conference is still happening June 25th and June 26th, and that will be in person. But the resume bootcamp will be happening virtually, so you can join me from wherever you are. Hi, Eugene. Yo, Eugene is a friend. And if I'm talking crazy, he will check me. Next question I got is, what about a 10-year gap? Nervous to start at 41. First of all, my love, you are 21 plus shipping and handling. Nobody needs to know how much shipping or handling. Secondly, if you have a 10-year gap, tell me about what you have done during that gap. I highlight your transferable skills. Don't let that stop you from going back into the workforce. Okay. So if you have a gap, highlight your transferable skills so like that we can connect with you. Question here is, any thoughts on elevating your job title on a resume if your responsibilities and achievements align? So I'm going to give you like the snippet version of this period profit, because I'm going to break this down more during the boot camp. But I would say title your resume like a book and make sure that your resume experience is relevant to that role. So yes, you can call that out and make sure that you're calling out the things that you have done that are relevant to this role that you want to be in. So for example, everybody and their mama, and I love y'all, want to be project managers, right? That's awesome. I love that for us. But help me understand how the work that you have done is relevant to project management. Okay? Because if you're not leveraging any language for project management, why should I trust you as a project manager? Right? So you want to just make sure that the language that you're going to be using, especially if you especially if you're calling out that type of role, if that's a role that you want to go to, make sure that it's relevant to the position. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just make sure you can back it up. That's the short answer. um, okay, last question. How do you answer an interview question? How do you demonstrate leadership on your job? Also, how do you integrate yourself into a new team? So this I'm going to share, especially if you're an educator, okay? Because my background is in education. Please understand that leadership does not necessarily require a title. It requires you to be able to demonstrate leadership ability. So, for my educators who are looking to go into different roles, and perhaps you're going into a leadership role, whether it's in your school, in your district, or in a completely different industry, you need to be able to share what has been your leadership ability. So, have you been able to facilitate a program? Have you been able to work with parents and students to make sure that you meet certain goals? Have you, and I'm saying parents and students for educators, but have you been able to do that outside of education? Have you been able to work cross collaboratively? Have you taken any initiative? Have there been any projects that you have led? Even if you don't have the title, that is leadership ability. Okay. So that's how I would answer that question if it were me. And I know that I know that there are so many questions, but I can't get to all of them. Here's the last. If you stayed with me for this long, I'm going to give you 2 questions that I typically ask when I am interviewing. Okay. So I'm going to give you these. And if you join me at the boot camp, I'll give you the right answers for them. But the first question that I typically ask a candidate is, why shouldn't I hire you? And most people are like, I'm gonna give you the response, okay? But you got to join me at the boot camp. That is a question that I ask. Why shouldn't we hire you today? Why wouldn't you be a good fit for this role? And here's another part where sometimes I trip up people is, especially if I know that they are coming from the same organization. Because I've had that too, where people apply and they're coming from the same organization. I will share. So such and such applied for this position. Why should I hire you over them? And here is where people get tripped up. They start to tell me why the other person is a really good hire. I'm trying to hire you. You telling me about somebody else that's better than you. What? So that's one of the questions that I ask. Why shouldn't I hire you? Okay. And then the other question that I ask is, knowing what you know about this organization, tell me how you would be a good fit. And what are you expecting from me as your leader? Knowing what you know about this organization, tell me why you would be a good fit. And what are your expectations of me as a good leader or as your leader? Those are the 2 questions that I ask. And most times when I ask those questions, candidates are shaking in their boots. And I don't do it on purpose. I don't do it to make you feel nervous. I do it to assess, do you have the capability to handle challenging situations? I'll give you the responses to those at the Resume Bootcamp. It has been phenomenal hanging out with y'all. Thank you for those of you who joined me from the very beginning. We hit almost, I think, 500 folks, which is huge. So those of you who took pictures and sent it to me, thank you. Again, join me on May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's get these resumes together. Okay? So I love y'all. I will catch you on the next. Join me at the Resume Bootcamp. Comment resume if you're watching the live right now. If you're watching the live right now and you want to join me for the Resume Bootcamp, just comment live on IG, comment resume on IG, and you'll get the link to register. And on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, the link has been dropped for you so that you can join me at the Resume Bootcamp, okay? So y'all go be amazing. Have the most amazing rest of your week, and I will see some of y'all on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.